All right, well, everyone, welcome back. This is Boyd Stevenson with Game Castle. I am joined by Fred Hicks from Evil Hat Productions. Woo! Thank you so much for being here, Fred. This is the third part of our series, and this is where I jump in and say, but wait, there's more. It's more than just having a designer and a publisher here to talk about what they've going on. We're going to talk about a little project called Bits Mortar. Fred, you want to tell everyone about what Bits Mortar is?
Sure. Bits Mortar is it's not a company. It's an alliance. It's a program where a number of publishers, in fact, we have like 180 publishers or something like that signed on, um, uh, have agreed to make PDFs of their books available so that retailers who also sign up for the program can send copies of PDFs for free to their customers when their customers buy the books.
So you're saying all they have to do is buy the book at retail
And then
at a
say, hey,
participating
can I get the
retailer,
PDF for that?
and they get a free copy of the PDF.
Hopefully, the retailer has trained the people at the cash register what to do. Okay, I'll take down your email address. I'll write down the titles that you got, and we'll send you the PDFs that qualify.
And full disclosure, we at Game Castle are not always the best at that, but that's why we have a fantastic Discord that has a very active management community on it, so that you can reach out to us directly and say, "Hey, I ordered this. Can you hook us up?" And we 100% will.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping a retailer from retroactively going like, "Oh yeah, you bought that book. Now I'm signed up for Bits and Mortar. Now I can send you that stuff." That's perfectly fine. The idea behind Bits and Mortar ultimately is to um, make it possible for the small business population that is publishers and the small business population that is your friendly local game stores to help each other out as much as possible to make sure that the value add of the PDF is something that is a part of that small business experience. You're not going to get, generally, a few publishers have exceptions, but you're generally not going to get a PDF for buying the book at a discount on Amazon. You're not. But if you're buying from a retailer like Game Castle, you absolutely will. Sometimes you might need to do a little bit of customer service emailing, but it's really low hassle. And it's low tech in a lot of ways too. We're not trying to make it complicated. It's just collect an email address, have a list of PDFs, and send them to your customers when you got the time. Some people do that at sort of the closing out the business week or closing out the day. Sometimes they do it right there and then. It's up to the individual retailer.
And to manage expectations, folks, here, Wizards of the Coast does not participate.
No.
Paizo does not participate.
No.
But there are exactly. But there are a lot of publishers that people would know out there. Do you want to throw some of the?
Yeah. Well, there's Evil Hat.
Whoa!
What? Pelgrane Press, one of the in fact founding members.
Oh, excellent.
We can talk about that later if you want. Chaosium. This is where I started to realize Bits Mortar has been around for at least a decade, but it really just started to snowball. I feel like maybe aided by the pandemic a bit, because not that long ago, just a few years, Chaosium signed up. We got Artel Saurian just before they released Cyberpunk Red. So there are some surprising, what I would call old guard publishers that have actually started to come around to the originally very indie idea of Bits and Mortar, because the customers universally love it, and the retailers have an opportunity to not feel like PDFs are the enemy. And I don't know how hooked in you were back when drive-through RPG started becoming like this really big thing. I remember it being like late 90s, early aughts. It started to
it really
product
exploded.
idea started to snowball. And there was the split. There was RPG Now and drive-through, but they've since become one happy family now. But there was a lot of retailer, and I think justifiable angst at the time about PDFs being the threat to like the brick and mortar, the pen and paper, the actual physical object retail. I can tell you now, 20 odd years later, that concern has not really manifested. There are still plenty of people who still want the hard copy physical book. But
And we in the paper manufacturing and game store conspiracy cabal spend a lot of time and effort trying to help people realize that's what they want.
Exactly. But there's also a proliferation of mobile devices. There's greater acceptance of PDF as a way to deliver games. But generally, people don't feel too good about spending $40 on a copy of Monsters of the Week and then going and spending $20 to get the PDF just so they can also do a text search on their mobile device instead of wait, where is that in the physical book?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still often want the physical book to like kind of experience linearly or leaf through or hold three places simultaneously.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were talking about fifth edition earlier. Obviously, you got to have your fingers in a few different pages at a time. So like each format does its own thing well, but the content is universal between them. And Bits and Mortar kind of says, well, let's get rid of that distinction and say that when you have the book, you also have the PDF because ultimately you're buying the content and in a deluxe wrapper. So why not also have it in another format that also gives you more utility? It makes you more engaged with the game. It makes you more happy about buying from the retailer if it's possible to get the PDF at no additional cost along with the book. It's a good deal for everyone.
It really is. It's a fantastic program. I look at this from a perspective. I think it really helps grow community by getting people into a space where they can play and where they can be exposed to a lot of different role-playing games.
Yeah. Like I said, 180 publishers. A lot of them are indie publishers, but we've also gotten some pretty sizable ones too.
And
Free League is a part of it too.
Oh, so. Yeah, Free League. I actually rereading some old Coriolis stuff last night.
There you go.
But Game Castle is a participant. But if I'm just a regular old shopper, maybe I'm not in the suburban Maryland area, and I want to find out if my store participates. How do I do that?
If you go to bitsandmortar.com, you can do it with hyphens between the words or not. They both work.
It's good design.
Yes. And go to, I believe it's retailers tab. There's a store locator down there if it's not already linked up at the top. But look for the store locator. You can set a amount of distance from an address, and it will show you the stores that are in that radius. Now, those stores have to have actually input their address information correctly for the thing to be able to understand that. But once that's done, then you'll turn them up. Now, I can't promise that every single store that pops up will have a knowledgeable person at the counter. That's an internal training thing to each store. And sometimes there are stores that, for whatever reason, didn't tell us that they closed forever. They probably had other things on their mind. So we might have some old records in there, but please just let us know if that's the case, and I'll edit them out of the database as needed.
And for the stores that haven't closed,
which is many.
Yes. Right. If you talk to your store and they say, "Oh, we're not," how do they go about connecting their store?
Point them to the exact same place. The retailers page has information on how to sign up as a retailer. But it's a super complicated process. Basically, you tell us your website address, tell us your physical address, give us a photo that shows that you're an actual brick and mortar store, because that's an important bedrock part of this. And we're trying to help retailers retain customers so that they can pay their rent. It's a real thing in retail. And you submit that, and then generally when it gets to the weekend and I have some free time to sit down with the Bits and Mortar queue, then I go through the list of applications we've gotten, and it's very rare that we get a store putting an application that misses the boat. Like they're an online only retailer, they only do conventions or something like that, and we do make the occasional exception if it makes sense for their particulars. But generally, we're looking for physical stores that could use the leg up. Very, very, very simple process.
I have to say, we absolutely love it. I sort of compare Bits and Mortar to being, it's sort of like your local library in the sense that it's this wonderful, great tool out there that really doesn't get the press that it really deserves, because it brings so many good things to the hobby. And
I mean, also speaking for the smaller publishers out there who can sign up through a similar process to the publishers tab. For the smaller publishers out there, it's also an opportunity for those retailers to like browse through what all is out there and maybe take a look at a PDF of something that they haven't ordered yet and say, oh, this is actually going to really click for one of the people at my store. Let me at least order in a copy and see if I can get that when the finds attraction.
And speaking of which, are there any new publishers who've joined recently you'd like to?
There are possibly one that might have been nudged that way by a certain person at this table. That's not me. Could that be? Lame Mage signed up just the other day. That's Ben Robbins, publisher of Microscope, is probably the one you've heard of. But I think he's got some new stuff coming out.
Yeah, he's got a Kickstarter out right now for a project called In This World,
That's right.
which it looks to be absolutely silly and a lot of fun. You know, we pick a topic that can be anything from dragons to dating, and then after we determine which of the topics we want, everyone sort of starts positing this world, and they say, in this world there are still dragons, but they're all accountants now.
Yeah.
And then we work collectively to talk about how a world where all the dragons are wearing their green shades and doing their work on their abacuses, abaci. I don't know.
I'll allow it.
What does that mean for everything else in the world?
Yeah,
and so you really can create some very some interesting things. We're actually gonna have a playtest in store here on June 25th.
Right
so
on.
I lie. I think it might be June 24th. It
June?
is.
Or do you mean July?
July 24th. Thank you. See, look, I missed hours, and anyway. Yes, it's
3-part interviews. It plays with the time stream.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that our editors are going to have a chyron below saying this is when it actually is. Yes. But it is a Monday evening, and so we're pretty pumped about the opportunity to do that. And
Ben is absolutely a magician of like setting domain tools, like that the stuff that you can do with Microscope is rightly legend in many a circle.
And we're
thrilled.
Sounds
like in this world sounds like it's in that same vein.
That we're thrilled that you're working with them and that you're providing this absolutely fantastic tool. All right, well, this is we're kind of coming to the end, and we've skipped this sort of outro a bit until now, but number one, Fred, thank you so much for coming in and chatting today. If people want to know more about you, Evil Hat Productions, projects that y'all have got, what is the best way to sort of do that?
Hit evilhat.com, poke around, find your way to our mailing list, find us on social media, check out our project status page, and you'll get a pretty solid view on pretty much everything we're doing, other than the secrets.
Well, thank you again for joining us. Any last things you want to hit for closing before we go?
Oh gosh, y'all should do more D&D camps so my kids can keep coming to the store and begging me for games every day.
There you go. It's more than just than summer childcare. It's also you don't have to DM time. Well, Fred, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you everyone for watching. The Game Castle College Park. This has been Boyd. Remember, when people get together to game, the good times will roll.